Well, let's talk to Hannah Hope. She's Showbiz editor at The Sun on Sunday. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's certainly been a busy old week for you guys in the Showbiz department. That's it. We've got, more stories over the weekend that have been coming out. We've now got this bitter on-screen battle between, with Eamonn Holmes and others speaking out about the relationship. There is no doubt at all that some of this is, let's face it, quite sort of bitchy, bitter feuds going on between TV stars who've got an axe to grind. I'm sorry, but that is the case. There's no doubt at all. We know Eamonn Holmes fell out with Phillip Schofield. He believes he was rude to his wife, Ruth Langsford. He feels he was badly treated by ITV. He was pushed out of the show. There's no doubt at all about that. But that doesn't mean that what he's saying isn't true.
Absolutely. I mean, you're right. It has turned into its own soap opera, as it were. You've got huge TV stars going at it on social media. Eamonn Holmes did a bombshell interview last night, making, quite frankly, shocking revelations about the behind-the-scenes going on of This Morning. But as you say, Julia, there are some really serious questions at the heart of this. How was such a young lad able to get such an important job at ITV? Not only on This Morning, he followed Phillip Schofield around to his other jobs as a presenter's runner on Dancing on Ice, his TV show 5 Gold Rings, and the British Soap Awards. He was also able to be on stage at the NTAs, and then
that's the National Television Awards. But that's when everyone's in their glad rags, and the senior staff, senior executives, all the on-screen talent, they go up on stage and they're all waving and things. And there's this runner. And again, I've done all the cruddy jobs. I've done all the making the tea jobs. I've done all that. I'm not disparaging. It's how you start out, and it's a really worthwhile job. But the idea that the runner would be on stage in the middle of the stage repeatedly at all these ceremonies. I mean, come on. No, there were many people who'd been on the show for much longer who weren't on the stage.
Absolutely, and I've spoken to a former employee, and most of the time the runners and the production staff would be at the back of the auditorium, sometimes watching it from a different pub or something. So the fact that this lad was able to be sat next to Martin Brissell, Phillip Schofield, and be on stage with all the top talent, really does prove that the top execs, Caroline McCall, Kevin Ligo, Martin Brissell, must have known something was going on. And the other point is, it really does bring into question poor Holly Willoughby here, because she has said that she was lied to, but then there's more and more pictures of her coming out with this lad, on the sofa at these events. So how much did she know? I mean, the question is, why didn't they ask deeper questions? Your political commentator said, we want to see some more results of this investigation. But Eamonn Holmes said last night, was simply the investigation them asking Phillip Schofield a question, and then them asking an aide a question.
But then we understand that the aide, again, we're not naming him, although his name is in the public domain, but we're not naming him. That's, I think all the media have agreed not to name him at the current time. But he, although he's not underage, but he apparently claims, we are told, that he wasn't asked, because ITV said we asked Phillip Schofield and the young man. They both denied there was an affair. As far as we were concerned, that was the end of it. It was just rumour and speculation. But this is the thing, the Holly Willoughby issue. I'm sure you've met her plenty of times as well. And again, she's very, very nice. I know people, like I met a guy, he was her driver years ago. Loved her. I mean, loved her. Let's face it, if you're going to be difficult and a pain, first thing in the morning you're going to be horrible to your driver, aren't you? If she was, I've never had an issue with either of them, I'm going to be honest, but I didn't know about this certainly the last time I was in the studio would have been pre-2020, I think, and so this all hadn't come out then. I only knew about it around that time afterwards. But even if she knew, so she's thinking, I feel a bit uncomfortable. This runner's around a lot. I'm thinking something's going on. I'm not quite sure, because I go on holiday with Phillip Schofield and his wife and kids, and they went on family holidays, didn't they? Were genuinely good friends. He's married. Now, did she know he was gay? Did she not? Again, no crime in that. Betrayal of his wife, but not any crime. But the question, and no wrongdoing, ostensibly, just betrayal of his wife. But even if she did know, she thought something was going on. She's seen a whole bunch of... She knows the executives know, because they're all watching it as well. She's seen a whole bunch of people, we're told, 8 people we're told by Dan Wootton and Eamonn Holmes, going to the management and saying, we're unhappy about this. Dr. Ranj says he went to ITV executives. He was a regular doctor on the show. And basically, they're being eased out. Maybe she figured, well, there's no one to go to. I don't know what. I'm not defending him. I don't know. But she's thinking, who am I going to go to when everyone already knows?
Yeah, that's the point, isn't it? If it's become an accepted secret, then and everyone's sort of saying we don't really talk about it, but it's okay. Then what do you do if you're in that situation? You know, I know people who worked at the show during the time, and they felt that they also felt there was no one really to go to. But then this brings us back to what Dr. Ranch has accused this morning of being, which is a toxic culture. Now, this also brings into question the going forward of the show. We know that Arnold Clark, the show's sponsor, has withdrawn its sponsorship as of September. And behind the scenes, they're saying the future of the show is in serious doubt. What we probably need to do is axe the show and start again with another format.
Yeah.
Those conversations are happening. I know ITV have said, oh, we're back on screen this week.
Of course they would say that. But you've got to feel good. I mean, you've got to feel sorry for the likes of the other presenters, the Dermot Murnahans, the Alison Hammonds and others who are, you know, just doing their job and having to, I mean, the pressure on them yesterday, I really, really felt for them. They're just like, we're caught in the middle of this, you know, what do we do? By definition, they're only on when the others aren't on. So they perhaps wouldn't have seen anything. But this is it. We're told about this toxic culture. We know people were asked to sign non-disclosure agreements. I know a lot of people who were there who said, oh, no, it was a terrible atmosphere. I'm like, but I never picked up on that when I was there. But again, if you're a guest on a show, everyone's all smiley, nicey, so you're perhaps not going to see what happens before you all turn up. But can we just get to the bottom? Because I've got a load of texts and tweets coming in. I'm asking people this morning, as executives at ITV are accused of a total cover-up over Phillip Schofield's affair with a young staffer on this morning, who should be held accountable, and tell us why. And I can't read out half of them because they're libelous. I mean, it's simple as that. I can't. There are words you'll be able to guess. Everyone knows what words are being. I can't read those out. I mean, I'm just not legally allowed to. We haven't got the evidence for this. Lots of accusations about what happened when. Do we have a definitive answer now on at what age it was that this young man met Phillip Schofield? At what age he came to work on the show, and at what age the affair started? Because people talk about a young boy. I think, there are different ages here, aren't there?
Oh, of course. I mean, it looks like we can see from photographic evidence that they met when they were 15, when he was a member of this theatre group that Phillip was a patron of. And records show that he started working on This Morning when he was 18. I don't know when the affair started to take place. Phillip has only said in his statement that it was on and off. But certainly it brings into question, and Nadine Dorries raised this at the weekend, safeguarding and a duty of care on ITV. How does someone with zero experience, by all accounts, go to working in such a senior position and working so closely with someone who, was decades older than them? So it really does bring into question duty of care. Something else to mention, Caroline McCall, the CEO of ITV, constantly talks about this be kind, welfare nature. And then we're told that Dan Wootton, who used to work at the channel, reported it to her right-hand man in 2019 and was told it was just malicious gossip. So, I mean, they say, it has to go straight to the top, doesn't it? The fish rots from the head.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if it was all over social media, and we know Phillip Schofield, he basically terminated his account. He's still up there, the Scof account on Twitter, but he terminated it because pretty much people were just sending him abuse, and it was all, it was just, that was all over the internet. And then so he just said, I'm no longer using this account anymore. Look, that's just, this is the thing. Do you think, quite simple questions, one-word answers, is Holly going to lose her job?
I think it's very, very shaky at the moment.
Do you think is This Morning going to be axed in a new format?
I would put money on it.
And in terms of executives, will any of those heads roll that I mentioned? Kevin Ligo, executive, director of TV, Caroline McCall, chief executive, and the executive producer, Martin Frizzell. Do you think any of those are going to be in a job at the end of the week?
If none of those heads roll, then ITV is going to lose the trust of its viewers, and that is at the core of what ITV is about, viewership. OK, great to talk to you. Really appreciate your time and your knowledge on this. Hannah Hope, Showbiz editor at Sun on Sunday.